Hey guys, today's topic is probate. A lot of people have a misconception about probate and assume it's just paperwork. Probate is set up not for fairness. It's set up more as like a procedural legal thing, having a legal way of distributing assets if somebody didn't set it up. The core concept of probate is basically that the courts are getting involved in your own personal stuff. And the downside about that is that those are inefficient, it takes time, and the family loses flexibility on its own assets and resources. The downside about probate is getting the government involved in anything obviously makes things take longer and it costs money. So that probate is taking money from your estate just to pay for itself so that the procedure's followed. In California, uncontested estate, all of the assets and stuff like that, takes up to a year and a half through probate on average. That's assuming everything goes smoothly and you don't have some random uncle or a strange brother or something that's trying to get in on your estate or get guardianship of your kids that you don't want. So one of the biggest negative surprises families get when they have to deal with probate is that accounts are frozen. So if you don't have a joint account or if they don't have clear beneficiaries designated for those accounts, the accounts can be frozen, and people who need to have access to that money to either pay for a funeral or pay for bills, the mortgage, things like that, don't have access to funds to be able to do that because they're frozen by that. And that's one unintended consequence of probate. Bills also aren't paused just because probate starts. So family still has costs that they have to pay for immediately. Funeral costs, bills, insurance, mortgage, rent, any of those kinds of things are still due. And if the money's frozen, they can't pay for those things from your accounts. They have to pay it from a separate account. Obviously, that places more stress on the family and makes things a lot harder for them. For firefighter families, this hits us even more hard, right? Pension benefits, survivor benefits, none of that stuff is automatic, and they are delayed. So even when you retire and you get your first pension check, there's usually a month or two delay of even accessing that. So if your family is relying on that income from you and now you're gone, if you don't have some of these things set in place, they don't have that stuff, and now they may be in a much worse financial spot because they don't have access to that money right away. Probate affects a lot more people than you realize. Accounts for your mortgage, your house, your titles to cars, personal property, bank accounts, things like that. If those things aren't clearly set up with beneficiaries and survivors as a result of some of the paperwork you've filled out, that doesn't happen automatically. So probate kicks in and actually has to delay those things from going into place. There is a way to avoid probate, and this is where the structural piece of it falls into place. Beneficiary accounts, life insurance, jointly titled things like your home or your vehicles, accounts, things like that, typically avoid the probate. The cost of probate is also pretty significant. In California, I think the average is anywhere from 10 to 15% of the entire estate. So if you had $1 million worth of stuff when you pass away, the probate part of it and the court process of it is going to charge you about 10 to 15% of that. So you're talking $100,000 to $150,000 out of the $1 million that's now swiped out of it just to determine where things are going to go, instead of you planning ahead and just deciding where that stuff is ahead of time and having the right paperwork filled out. There's a misconception that if you have a will, it avoids probate. That's not the case. A will says where you want things to go, but probate still happens to determine that that will is genuine, that you signed it, that it was notarized, and there's no other will that supersedes that one in place setting it up. So a will does not avoid probate. Probate is not a punishment. It's just set up in a way to have a process for things. There's a structural thing in our government that's set up to make sure things need to go where they're going to go. And it only happens if you don't have something structured in place of it. Big takeaway from this is plan now so you can avoid probate later. Thanks for joining me on Finance for Firefighters. Thumbs up if you like it, subscribe, leave comments below. Hope you guys have a good shift. I'll see you in the next one.